Welcome, team, to the Best of Five podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Claire.
I'm the other host, Grant.
And we were honored today to have Hannah Hogue from Arkansas, their setter from the 2023 season. And she's an upcoming senior. And yeah, Elite Eight finalist, made school history with her team, making it to the Elite Eight. She had a really great perspective.
Absolutely. Great insight. It was great talking to her about the new double contact rule, and especially from a setter that is going into her senior season. She had a great perspective on that, as well as a lot of other things. She was very well spoken. It was so nice talking to her.
Yes, very knowledgeable.
Yeah. Can't wait to see what Arkansas does this season. We'll definitely be cheering them on, cheering Hannah on.
Yeah, wishing them continued success.
For sure.
So let's dive into the show.
Here we go.
So we created this podcast because we think volleyball is the best. So when did you fall in love with volleyball?
Yeah, so I played softball was the first sport I played. I started when I was I started when I was like 4, so I mean that was the first thing I knew. And then I had an older cousin and my sister, they started playing volleyball like when they got to junior high, and so I was just around it a lot. And then I started playing when I was about 9, and it was just like I just enjoyed it more than softball. I was always doing something. In softball, I didn't like the fact that you could strike out and then you'd have to like wait like an inning and a half to go make another play. Yes. So with volleyball, it was like you kept getting to like make up for a mistake or always doing something. So I fell in love with it pretty early on. I mean, 10 years old, I didn't want to leave the gym. I just kept wanting to go to practice. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we see that so much with like we also coach like middle school volleyball. It's fun to see, like we always say, like they catch that volleyball bug, like they just like get it and they can't let go. These 12-year-olds are like, they practice like every day and they still want to get back into the gym and stay there. Like it's so fun to watch.
That's awesome. It happens with people who watch the sport too. Like they come to a game and they're like, I don't want to leave. I want to come back. You know, it's not the same.
Right. Yeah, no. And it's been so cool to see more and more people catch that bug as the years have gone on. Like, like these middle school girls, it's like we have a 2.5 hour practice and like that's long to coach them for.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. Like, but like at the end, they stay and they want to pepper. I'm like, girls, your parents are in the parking lot.
We have that. We would get done with practice and Jason would call it second practice because we'd all just go back out there and like hit more balls. He's like, just go home. Like, go come.
Right. Yeah, that's so awesome. Yeah, and it just shows like good teams or like people who want to get better. Like, it's fun. You know, like it's challenging and so that's really cool. So we can start a little bit like with so like you said, you fell in love with volleyball really early, like around 10. So then how did you like did you play club? Did you play high school? Like all of that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so I started playing at 9. I played at like Girls Inc. Club, you know, just nothing crazy. And then at 10, I started playing club volleyball for our local club, Fort Smith Juniors. And then from there, I played club until I was 17 and, you know, I played school ball. So that's kind of how it started. I loved it. Me and my older sister were in club at the same time. So our poor convention center from, you know, morning pool to afternoon pool.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But you know, that's just kind of how it started. All my friends were on that team and, you know, we got to go a long way with it. And then I started going to camps and stuff eventually, you know, about middle school. But yeah, that's how I started at Girls Inc. and then ended up in club volleyball.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What is the volleyball scene like in Arkansas? Because you're from Arkansas, right?
Yes. It's gotten a lot better since I was a kid. So we have a few like pretty big clubs that people go to. And then you have a bunch of like smaller clubs too that are just starting to get a whole lot of players. And that's what we've seen. Just so many more people are playing the game. Like like I think our club back home, like they run into the problem not having enough coaches because they have too many players, which is a good thing. It's
right.
That's not how it was growing up when I was a kid. So it's been cool to see this evolution of, more clubs getting developed and they're getting better coaches and just more kids playing the game.
Yeah.
It's grown a lot in our state in the past 10 years, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of like, we're from Pittsburgh, and it's kind of a similar thing. Like, you just see more and more clubs, more and more kids playing, and more people watching. And so, like, what are some, like, positives and negatives to the sport growing? Because we see it right now with, like, March Madness, especially women's basketball, like, breaking records. The tournament, the NCAA volleyball tournament, breaking so many records. So what's some, like, insight on that?
Yeah, I think positively, there's just more people around it. Like, we've known it's this great sport for a long time, and now other people outside of it are finally realizing, like, this is a lot of fun to watch, and what these women are doing, it's really incredible. Like, you don't get to see that kind of athleticism in every sport that you watch. Negatively, I think just keeping up with it. Like I kind of said earlier, like, there's just so many kids, and you want to get them into these spaces where they can learn volleyball, but learn it, I don't know if there's necessarily a right way, but in the best way that they can.
Yes.
And you might not have the kind of coaches that know how to do that because the game has changed and evolved so much. But I think, as we cycle through and, like, our classes get out of college, then a lot of us will go coach and kind of develop the game in that way. But yeah, just keeping up with the sport in general, because it has evolved so much. I mean, you think not too long ago they weren't even rally scoring, so it's just
literally
just so many changes, and now, like, you have the double call change, and so it's just always changing, and so just keeping up with it in that way. But the more people that can watch it, they'll learn, and hopefully coaches out there, watching us and watching pro volleyball now, and just seeing how to go about that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I really resonate with a lot of the things that you said, because we coach at the high school level and at the club level now. And you're exactly right when you say, like, the problem with the sport expanding is just there isn't as many knowledgeable coaches. So some girls just don't get the quality reps and the correct technique.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's really interesting, and I think you'd make a really great coach.
We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. But you mentioned the double contact elimination, and as a setter in the NCAA, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's I've kind of gone back and forth. But then you think about, like, at one point they could block serves, and that's just not a thing anymore. And we don't really It'll change the game, I think, in ways of, maybe if you're in a position where you usually couldn't set a hitter and now you can kind of just fling it over there, and maybe that happens. But it's like, how often will that happen in a game? I don't know. It does take away an aspect of the skill that you've really worked on. But I heard someone reference it as, like, if Tom Brady threw a duck and his receiver caught it, they're not going to penalize Tom Brady for throwing a duck. And if he keeps throwing those, they're not going to win. So,
exactly.
I think it'll balance itself out. I don't think it'll be too crucial. Maybe if they change that for younger levels, I think it could get I don't know. But
a little messy.
Yeah, I can get messy very quickly. But I think for the NCAA, I mean, these setters are good. They're not going to double it too often, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully the game doesn't get messy. Clean volleyball is fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. Yeah, and, like, also teams aren't going to win with messy setters. You still need your speed, tempo, location, and you're not going to get that with lots of spin. But hey, who knows? Yeah, I just think
they find a loophole. I don't know.
Right, exactly. Who knows? Whatever. But it'll be cool to see how that develops.
I think a lot of people will be yelling double and then be like,
right, like, oh, darn,
Let's do that. Yeah.
Exactly, because that is very much like a gimme point, or like a point where you just, like, stand up and play's done. But no, it'll be interesting to see how long that transition takes.
It'll be interesting to see how many times up refs call doubles and then have to replay a point.
That's a great point.
Oh,
they have to get used to it too. Yeah.
especially when a middle goes and sets a ball because they're going to want to call a double.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. We should like place. Oh, we can't place bets because that's illegal. Yeah, exactly. That's illegal. But how? So we can kind of go into how did you end up at Arkansas? Was that your dream school? And how was the recruiting journey, etc.?
Yeah. So I live an hour south of Fayetteville. So both my parents went to school here. My mom cheered here. My dad played baseball. And I grew up coming to games here. You know, I was always up here on weekends. So it was my dream school. The thing with that is like, you can have a dream school, but it doesn't always pan out how you want it to. Like maybe they don't need your position, or, you know, you don't like the coach. And, so my 8th grade year, Jason Watson got the job here. And honestly, the team was pretty rough. But he had come from Arizona State, and kind of the similar thing. Like they started out pretty rough. He was there about like 8 years, and they ended up, you know, making the tournament, making these long runs in it. So I met him. I went to a camp here my summer or my 8th grade year. Met him. Just loved what he was about. Like he had a vision for this program. He was genuine. Like he didn't try to like promise you all these things. He was just like, you know, this is what we're going to do. And it worked in the past, and we're going to keep doing that. So I was fortunate in the way that he ended up here at the time when I was becoming recruited. And then he offered me my summer going into 9th grade. And I it took about 6 days, and I was like, absolutely, let's. And then from there, you know, that's very early, but it's like, this is where I wanted to be location wise and school wise. Growing up, I just didn't know if the pieces would fit. And so I was really blessed that, you know, they needed, I say a setter, but really he recruited me, and he was like, I don't know if you're going to be a setter or a libero, like when you know, in a few years. But he offered me. He's a great guy. I loved his coaching staff. Just love what he's about. And I didn't have to like, you know, is he different than what he is in the recruiting scene? I didn't have to worry about that. Like he's just the same guy. So that was nice. So then from there, I just kept playing volleyball, and I knew where I was going, it was really nice. Like I watched all my friends go through this recruiting process, and it changed. Like the rules changed. Our process, which was stressful for a lot of them. So yeah, it was just nice to know where I was going to be, and knew that I liked the guy that was going to be in charge of it.
Yeah, that's really awesome, and really cool that you found a program that was growing and that was a great fit for you. So that's kind of what I wanted to go into next was, like, how does it feel to be a part of Arkansas's growing success? And can you talk about like some things that you do that makes the program successful?
Yeah, it feels a little surreal. I grew up in the volleyball program here. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't at the level that it is now. So you just kind of, I came in not having really any expectations. I was going to play the game I loved at a school I loved, and, you know, do the best we can with it and see where it goes. And we knew we had potential, but to see where it is now, like I think back on that last season, like an Elite 8 run, which we had kind of like, we knew we were good, but it's like you never want to really grasp how good you are in the moment. So you're just kind of like, oh, we'll just keep playing. And then I think back to the season before, you know, we made it to the second round, and then, you know, the one before, and we didn't even make it. Like we got, we got left out, and that hurt pretty bad. And I just think about all the people that came before us, that they were like placing these building stones. And like our freshman year, the phrase that like, it was just built into us, Jason just kept saying like, the first one through the wall is going to be the bloodiest. And so we were trying to break through this wall. And, you know, it kind of gives me chills to think about, because, you know, we had these seniors and these leaders that had just grinded. Like they were below 500 seasons in like years prior. And so, it just means a lot to be able to get to that point, and they got to watch it, and they felt a part of it because they were. I mean, they helped build it to where it is. So it's really cool. I think like I'm a kid from Arkansas and I get to be a part of this historic run for the Arkansas volleyball team. And yeah, it's pretty special. As far as what we do, I think we just play a lot of volleyball, honestly.
Right.
We go into practice and like our practice is we play doubles. And
Oh,
so you
okay,
play doubles ladder. Yeah, it's probably the most important part of practice. If you ask some of us, like you're playing for the top of the doubles ladder. So it gets pretty competitive.
Okay, got it.
And then we go into sixes and we just play variations of sixes the whole time. So I think that's something that like we bought into. That's like Jason. He's bought into this. Like we're gonna teach the game by playing the game. Yeah. And then the people that he's recruited, we've kind of bought into it, and we just we try to go out there and learn the game as we're playing it, and be good teammates along the way, and do all the right things, and just fall in love with the game and learn it that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that because that's kind of how we fell in love with the game as well, and kind of how our high school program is run. Like they just throw you out in the deep end, say go play, go try to win, and then
and make mistakes. Like,
yes,
for sure.
Yeah, and like just try to keep the balloon off the floor. Yeah. And then the technical stuff will come. Yeah, that's for awesome. Sure.
Yeah, I think you just have that. Like a lot of us were just competitively natured. Like we just want to win, and if you put us in a position where we can like doubles, like just go win. Like go figure out how to win. There's no rules. Just
yes.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I love what you touched on earlier too about, just being a part of the success and how special that is, but also like validating that it's a lot of hard work, and it takes a lot of people to get to where you guys are. And
I was just saying like your coach, like that's great that he's not someone just like, blow smoke and be like, we're going to win, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and like promise things, because that's where, you get into problems. And just like building a program, like lifting up competitors and like making them compete, I'm sure that has a lot to do with the success, especially like recent success of the program.
Yeah, for sure. I think today it's hard to build a program and get your people in and keep them there, which the transfer portal, it has its benefits because people need to go to a place where they like it and they love it and they love playing volleyball. Not everyone gets it right the first time, which is fine. But I think he's done a good job of just getting people in there, and we have a track record of staying pretty long, which is good because, it's hard to do. But if you can keep your people in there and teach them for 4 years your way you're doing it, I think it makes a difference. And it's been nice to see because, the people that came before, like Jill, she was here for 5 years. Taylor was here for Maggie was here for 5 years. So the longevity of it, and then those people get to build back into your program.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's something that I wanted to ask you about too, is like playing with those people and like developing those connections, like Jill Gill, like Taylor Head, like Maggie Cartwright. Like we were watching your sets in that game, and like they're so low and so quick, and like you just obviously have so much trust in your hitters. So can you speak about like how you built that trust with them?
Yeah, I think we weren't the biggest, so speed had to be there. You not by speed, but had to be there. I think just a lot of days in the gym where it just didn't look good, and they were really good at after every ball being like, okay, I need it a little farther, I need it a little higher, and we would spend days just like toying with it a little bit, like, okay, do you really need it farther or do you need it higher? Do you really need it higher? Do you need it farther? Like that's something we talked about a lot. And then just I knew that if it was a bad set, they were going to make it look better than it was, and if it was a good set, they were going to put the ball down and take care of it. And it allowed me to not have to feel like I had to put a ball in a spot this big, like I could err a little bit and it would still be okay. It made my window bigger, which in a way narrowed their window. So they got to zone in on what they were doing. But yeah, when you run it that fast, it can look really bad if they're not on time.
Right.
Yes. Hit the bench, So
right.
yeah, they did a great job just communicating to me and being like, I just need it differently, and I could accept that. And I think that's what the best teams do. There's in constant communications, and these tiny little changes that you make can make all the difference.
Yeah. I try to like tell our setters like, and also our hitters, like talk to your setters, even if like it looked like a good swing. You can say like, hey, for this to be really, really good, put it a little bit lower, even though that was a good swing. Like,
yeah, just always strive to get a little bit better.
Yeah,
for sure. And I think as the season went, they had to say, like, it was almost we were communicating without words. Like, they didn't have to say anything, and I knew what needed to change, and we'd just kind of look at each other and be like, yeah, that needs to. But yeah, in the beginning, it's like, please articulate everything that you felt on, because then you're both guessing, and then the hitter will change their timing, and the setter will change the ball, and you've just missed each other.
Yeah.
And one of you could have just changed.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. We wanted to ask you, because a lot of the times young volleyball girls and setters in particular struggle with is right back defense. Do you have any advice for young setters playing in the right back?
I love defense, honestly. Like,
love it. Me too.
Yeah. I love going and digging a ball. I think mostly to just, first of all, play defense first. I think setters will hear that for their whole career. But just like, be a volleyball player first, and then the rest will take care of itself. We're very fortunate. Courtney Jackson can seriously dish the ball. Like,
love it.
So I can dig a ball, and she's gonna go take care of it. But yeah, I think just being patient and not guessing. So I'm gonna let my eyes do a lot of the work and just be patient, stay, and then once I know, like, there's a part of reading in there, like, I can kind of know what's going to happen before it happens, but I'm not going to go until I know, and that's something we talk about in our gym, because it's really hard to take a step the wrong way and then get going in the right way. So just wait, and it might feel like you're waiting too long, but eventually it's going to be like, wait, go, and you're going to be on it pretty quickly. Hard driven balls, you just got to let it hit you. Get out of the way. Just stand your ground. Keep your hands apart, But,
absolutely.
Yeah, I love defense. It's fun.
Yeah. I love defense too, and I think it's so fun to like read and like whenever, and especially like when you read correctly and you get like the perfect dig, like that just feels so sweet.
Oh yeah, especially when you've watched that shot on your scouting report like 12 times, and you know exactly what's going to happen. That's a nice thing.
And especially with right back defense, like that's great that you said like just wait and like don't take the wrong step, because the ball has to travel so far from the setter the whole way to the outside pin. Things can look different from as it's coming out of the setter's hands to as it's about to come at your face or something.
Yeah, a lot different. And if you step up and they rock one down the line, it could get ugly.
Yes, exactly. Do you have any advice for young volleyball players looking to play maybe at the college level, or maybe just trying to compete and win at the high school level? Just anything that you wish you would have known when you were younger?
Yeah, I think if you want to play college, what you should know is that there's a place to play. Like, there's so many schools at so many levels. If you want to keep playing and you love the game, there is a place for you to play, and you'll find it, and it'll all work itself out. Just sell yourself a little bit, reach out, do those kinds of things.
Right.
As far as just competing, like, every day that you get to compete is such a like precious moment, because you can't, like, you're not going to be playing this game for the rest of your life. And like, I'm at the point in my career where like the end is a lot closer than the beginning. So just like recognize that, today might not have been your best day, but at least you got to go compete, and you just can't replicate that feeling anywhere else. So I would say to just, lay it out there, and that's anything you do. I'm a big believer in that. If you go hard in your life, you're not going to have regrets in anything. You can lay down at night and maybe it wasn't great, but at least you didn't hold anything back and there was nothing left to give. So I would say lay it out there, and that's a courageous thing to do. We talked a lot about that. It takes courage to lay it out and not know what's going to happen. So I would just encourage them to do that. That goes with playing college ball too. Like, just lay it out there. And if people say no, well, maybe they missed, maybe they're wrong.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I love that. Yeah, because like it takes a lot of courage and bravery to like walk into the unknown, but like you're going to walk into the unknown either way, so you might as well go 100%.
For sure. You might as well just lay it out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I might start saying that. Just lay it out there. Yeah, so you talked about or you mentioned like your senior year is coming up. So what are your goals for your senior year? And maybe even like your plans for the future?
Yeah, I think senior year, just want to enjoy it. Like last year, I got such a taste of just enjoying the moment and being present and just not thinking too far ahead. And, we obviously hit spots where you think too far ahead and it kind of catches up with you. But to just like be where my feet are and soak it all in, because this is the last time I'll get to wear a Razorback on my chest, which has meant so much to me. And it's been such a special thing in my life that I'll tell my kids about. Goal wise, we aren't a big goal setting team. I mean, last year, we never set the goal of, getting to the Elite Eight. That wasn't even a thing. It was more like, we're going to go win every game that we play.
Right.
The next game up. So I think probably that mentality too. Every game that we step into, lay it out there, and we're just going to go play to win. We're not going to play to lose anything. And where that takes us, I don't know. And it'll be fun to find out. But I just really want to soak it in and enjoy it and compete and lead my team and see what happens. As far as
awesome.
After December, I really don't know. Like if I get drafted, that'd be great, and it'd be a great opportunity, and I'd take it in a heartbeat. If I don't, I'll start my master's in agriculture business in the fall. So if I don't get drafted, I'll just finish my schooling in the spring, and then I guess I'll have to go get a job.
Boo.
So we'll just kind of see where it goes. I'm kind of just, I don't know what my life's going to look like a year from now or 8 months from now, it can be a scary thought, but I'm just really leaning into like, it's all going to work out how it's supposed to. And, God's got this plan for my life that He's had, since I was a kid, that I didn't see any of this happening. So I don't know what's going to happen next. And I'll be where I'm supposed to be, but I'll keep you guys updated on where I want to be.
That's awesome.
Just kind of riding the waves right now, and definitely just trying to soak it all in.
Yeah.
And that's a great mentality because like it's similar to how you guys did this past season. Like we always tell our girls like to set goals, but then when we're in the moment, we say like we have to take this point for point, like game to game, season to season. But so that is kind of contradictory that we do that. And it is nice. Like you have your resources, yourself, like whatever happens is going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think a big cue for us, going off kind of what y'all were saying, that you tell your kids, we just found that like being present in the match was a great cue for us, because you can make an error and then you think about it and it's like, well, you're missing the moment that's happening now because you're either thinking ahead or you're thinking back. So that's been a good cue for us, and I've kind of taken it into life. It's just if you're not living in this moment, you're missing it, and then if you get it, you can't get it back.
It's gone.
Yeah, exactly. That's such a great outlook and such a great mindset. And I think we're going to take that and apply that to our lives. So I'm sure our listeners will be very thankful for your advice and your perspective. That was really that's really all I had.
We got everything we needed and more.
You're so awesome. We're really thankful that you could be on the show.
Yeah.
And we wish you the best of luck. And we'll definitely be cheering you on.
It's awesome that y'all are doing this, bringing light to the game, and it's growing so much, and people like y'all making it known it's a big help for that. So I'm appreciative that y'all are doing this, and thanks for having me on. It was great.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for listening to the Best of 5 podcast. Please like, subscribe, and follow wherever you get your podcasts.
Thank you for the support that we've been getting. Thank you to Hannah for coming on the show.
Yes.
We appreciated her time and her insight. You can check us out on YouTube if you want to see our beautiful faces. And thanks again for the continued support. Press any buttons you can. Give us some engagement. We just want to keep growing the pod and bring more volleyball insight and fun to you.
Yep. So we'll see you next week with another amazing guest. Bye.
Bye.